Hello, nerds, and welcome. We are crossing the Nerdverse, bringing you a rift in the Nerdverse. So for those of you that follow along with WWE, you know this weekend was WrestleMania. Night 1 Saturday, Night 2 Sunday, and some additional major news that broke just this morning. Talked about it briefly on the Facebook page, maybe on the Twitter. I haven't been on the Twitter too much today. So, let's start with the elephant in the room. And I'm not talking about Eric.
Oh, yeah, I am a little big now. I am running though. Couch to 5K, my friend.
Couch good for you.
5K.
It was the gray shirt that got me. No, I'm just kidding. Starting off.
Thing?
Yeah, Endeavor. Endeavor has purchased WWE in a $9.23 billion deal. Will now be merging the UFC and WWE into one large mega entertainment corporation.
And we are not talking the superhero, by the way.
Yeah.
My hero. This is an actual business company.
Yeah, we're not talking about Endeavor. Endeavor, the fire hero, the new number one. Unless you're just way behind on My Hero Academia, then he's still the number two.
But this is interesting to me because wrestling, what was it recently, is trying to become okay to gamble, and now Endeavor gets involved.
Yeah, to me, surefire sign that gambling will be in fact implemented, and it's not too far of a stretch. I'm part of a group that runs a fantasy league for professional wrestling. It's not that ridiculous to have that translate over into sports line betting. You know, the number of chair shots that are going to be performed. Will you see this move executed at this match? Things like that. I don't think it's that big of a stretch. It's definitely going to be something that's going to have to get ironed out when you get to the stage of the amount of betting that I'm sure Endeavor is wanting to have happen with WWE. Also, in regards to that, may no longer be called WWE soon, so who knows where that's going to go. Those of you who subscribed to
change it?
It's entirely possible. This is a whole new big mega corporation that's going along. Could see a name change.
That would be nuts.
That definitely would be crazy.
I can't see a big name change.
Yeah. And this Endeavor deal and merger with UFC is not a bad move. Endeavor has done a lot for UFC, and UFC has become wildly more popular not popular, but profitable under Endeavor. You're talking about 150% increase over a 6 year period. That's astronomical growth.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like UFC has gotten a lot bigger. It's going to be like, what can wrestling do? I don't know, man, because but the whole, like, we kind of talked about ahead of time, like Vince McMahon getting a lot more involved. That's not going to be good. We all know that.
No, it's never good when Vince is involved.
And Shane coming back too. Like, you're bringing back a lot of the things that were causing issues for a while.
Shane being back, spoiler alert for those which we'll talk about that particular match. Shane being back is not a big deal. He has his WrestleMania spots. He comes out, he runs around for like 2 or 3 minutes. He gets absurdly sweaty for no reason. And then he does a big move, and then that's it. It's the WrestleMania spot. Shane's been doing it for years uncounted, where he has the one big moment, whether it's the coast to coast, it's the elbow drop off top of like a Titantron or anything like that. He's got to have his moment. There's a big yay. Everyone saw him do a crazy move. And then he goes into the back, and nobody really thinks about Shane until WrestleMania rolls around the following year.
He always has, I don't know. I just find he always kind of ruins things a little bit. It was nice to see him get stomped on by Snoop, though. Another spoiler alert, but if you're here, you're listening.
No, that was the Miz. That was the Miz that got stomped on by Snoop.
Oh, I thought Snoop got him.
Shane,
my bad.
Shane tore his quad in the middle of that match. That's why you saw the officials come sliding in, and then they had to carry him out. Snoop finished the match with the Miz by dropping the most Snoop Dogg people's elbow I have ever seen. So did you watch both nights of WrestleMania, Eric?
No, I like caught little pieces. That's why I'm horrible at knowing exactly what happened. I read a
First
little
on
bit of it. Like I said, wrestling to me, I got to start trying to come back now because it seems like it's pretty good. I'm after reading a lot of the stuff, especially with WrestleMania. They might have me back, so I'll probably start checking it out, and we'll see where it goes from there. But I don't know. We'll see. I
good
miss
show.
Austin.
Night one stole the show to me over night two. I feel like night one was a little more well put together.
Well, let's talk that first then.
Well, I mean, you should always lead off with night one. It was first. Opening match, Theory versus Cena. Pretty bog standard. Get Theory a win over a veteran. The push continues for Theory to make him a new superstar. I think it was the right choice. You definitely shouldn't have John Cena winning unless he's going to be back full time. And if he's going to be back full time, we got to do something about that big glaring bald spot on the back of his head. Because more and more, every time I see John Cena, he looks. And I shouldn't make fun of bald people being what I am. It's just so obvious that it's leaving at the back. Like he either needs to go with the skullet ring like Hulk Hogan did, or just shave it like Kurt did. We got to figure something out because he looks like Ernest P. Worrell at this stage.
I was surprised to see him come out with that haircut. I did watch some highlights from that one because I do like Cena, not because of his wrestling ability. I like Cena because of Peacemaker.
Yeah, well, he's Big Match John.
Yeah,
he's Big Match John.
Yeah, I mean, he can't obviously change his whole thing now, so he's still got to seem like that "you can't see me" type guy.
He's hit the legacy status in his WWE career. Like, I think he legit has a Legends contract, which is where he can float in and out whenever he feels like, and WWE give him a little bit of money to show up at a show. He does the attitude adjustment. He hits him with the 5-knuckle shuffle. Everybody cheers, and then he goes away for a while. At the height of the C Nation, when he was basically carrying WWE on his shoulders, fans were a little tired of him, so he had a lot of boos for Cena, but he's been gone long enough now. It's going to be nothing but cheers anytime he comes back. So good to see Cena back. Good to see him working. He did not shout his moves out in that match, which leads me to believe they did a little more rehearsing. He's notorious for shouting what is supposed to happen next, which it's funny when they have mics close to it because you can hear him like shout that stuff out. Just from like that little peek behind the curtain, I guess. But
it's kind of like anime when they always scream their move out right before they hit the bad guy with it. Like, why are you wasting that time? Like,
yeah, because like they'll be in the middle of the match and he'll throw him against the rope and he'll be like backdrop, and like so they'll hop up and he'll do the backdrop, but like it's rehearsed beforehand. Just be on the same page. But anyway, yeah, Theory over Cena, good match. C, not anything to write home about, but it wasn't a bad match. They made the right call. Theory needed the win more than Cena did, obviously. They had to make Cena look strong, so Theory kind of won after a ref bump and some like chicanery. But still your U.S. champion moving into the Monday night after WrestleMania. Little bit of a slow start, if I'm being honest, for WrestleMania. They usually want that big pop, like surprise, early. Didn't really get that. Second match was the 4-way tag match. Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus the Street Profits versus the Viking Raiders versus Alpha Academy.
What are these names?
It's the tag team names. Street Profits are made up of Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, who at this point should have held more tag team gold than they have. These guys are absolutely amazing, super athletes. I look forward to whenever they get their singles push. As it sits right now, probably not going to be anywhere in the near future. I have a feeling they're going to be heavy in the first feud for Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, which we'll talk more about later because it's a big one that happened on this night. But yeah, Street Profits won. Viking Raiders looked pretty dominant. Braun Strowman, of course, is a monster. That's why he is the monster among men. To me, best moment of that particular match was watching Chad Gable do a cold deadlift German suplex on Braun Strowman. Chad Gable is a normal-sized dude as far as height goes. Braun Strowman, exceptionally tall. You're talking about a dude that's pushing the 7-foot mark. I guess he's not quite 7 foot. He's like 6'8", somewhere around there, and he just got straight cold picked up deadlift German suplex by Chad Gable.
Was it as
absolutely
cool
monster spot
as when was it Hulk Hogan like suplexed Andre the Giant? Do you remember that? Was it that kind of cool?
Cooler.
Really?
Yeah, because that was not the first time Andre the Giant had been body slammed. He'd actually been body slammed several times before that. Everybody just remembers that because it happened at WrestleMania. Andre the Giant being body slammed had happened a lot before Hulk Hogan pulled it off. But so yeah, that was the tag match. Up next, we had a bit of I call them palate cleanser matches, where it's going to have a few high spots, obviously some spots where you're supposed to cheer and go, ah, yay! And that would be the women's tag team champions, Lita and Becky Lynch, with Trish Stratus versus Damage Control, which is Io Sky, sorry, it's her new name, Dakota Kai, and Bayley. The women's tag champs with Trish Stratus won that match. I am hoping that feud is done. It's been going on way too long. I don't care about Damage Control anymore. I don't care about Bayley as part of this group anymore, really. They've just lost consistently. I would like to see an actual feud happen over the women's tag belts instead of these like slapped together tag teams that they just throw my way. So hopefully we'll get to see a little more showcase of the actual women's tag titles instead of this 3v3 match. It had plenty of moments. It was good. Becky Lynch, of course, is in fact the man. That's her whole shtick, is that she's the man. Always good to see her wrestle. She's fantastic. Great personality. Attitude Era fans, you got to respect that Lita can still go. There was a couple of little missteps and miscues. Both of them have been away from the ring for a very long time. Her and Trish Stratus both have retired numerous times at this point. So,
wasn't Lita with Edge at one point? Edge and
yes, and
Christian?
Then before that, she was with the Hardys. Not Christian, just Edge. It was when he was the rated R superstar. So yeah, it was fine.
Hardy Boys.
It was that was a B match. Like it was, I give it a solid B. Definitely better than the Theory Cena. That one was just it was a John Cena match. Up next, we had a little bit of a break. We got to see one of my favorite people make a surprise appearance at WrestleMania as far as a match goes, and that's Pat McAfee. Those of you who are NFL fans may recognize him. He was, in fact, an NFL punter for a considerable amount of time. He now does color commentary for ESPN. I think it's ESPN. It may be ABC. College sports. He does college sports football announcing.
Yeah, I can't remember which one he does, but I watch his show, too. That guy is incredible. Show,
yeah. Oh, yeah, he's just the
what
greatest.
He's done is the best, dude. When he bought the compound and, like, built that all up, that was very impressive. But, like, he's someone that tried to do, well, he did what we're doing and made it huge. But, like, when he started out after the NFL being a kicker for the Colts, like, he wasn't even able to get in, if I remember, like, him saying in interviews, like, into their media type program stuff they do. And then he did it on his own and just blew up. But, yeah, he does his own show, I think, almost
Pat
daily. And then, and then he does... it's college, and then I think he does something else too, and then he does wrestling sometimes. Like the guy
he used to be a full-time color commentator for wrestling, and it was amazing. To the point, just another little look behind the curtain since kayfabe is broken anyway. He did not like to know the outcome or results of matches when he was doing color commentary because he wanted to be surprised. He wanted his reactions to be genuine. So definitely kind of the cool side where he was just like, no, I don't want to know anything. I don't want to know the move list. I don't want to know who's up next. I just want to sit here and make color commentary and have a good time. And that's what he did. And he was fantastic at it. But he got to come back. Huge pop. Always a huge pop for Pat McAfee. The dude is just a hands down crowd favorite. He gave the punter kick right to the Miz 1, 2, 3, Pat McAfee. Now, I believe 2-0 at WrestleMania. So the streak is alive for Pat McAfee.
The new Undertaker.
The new Undertaker. I would love Pat McAfee to have a 20-year streak of like stupid wins at WrestleMania. That would be absolutely amazing. And just over like other dumb situations. Like the more ridiculous, the better in that regard.
And he brought a football player with him too, Kittle.
He did. George Kittle, yeah. San Francisco 49ers. He's their tight end. Big fan of Kittle. He knocked the Miz out, which was fun to watch. Miz took some pretty serious bumps, like all in all with that. I mean, Kittle did not really hold back when he blasted into him. So,
yeah, I'd be curious if like the Miz is going to talk about that at all, because I like watched just little clips here and there, and like, yeah, it definitely looked like it was a little bit more severe than it should have been. When you say wrestling's fake, remember, some of it's still painful.
Wrestling is predetermined. It is not fake. That is a man getting slammed into by another grown man. Yeah, we followed that up with Rollins versus Logan Paul. I had the same complaint. I always have. Anytime Logan Paul is on goddamn TV, and that's the freaking product placement. So glad I got to see a 30-minute like clip for Prime Energy drink. Logan Paul, you blonde turd.
I am super surprised they put him right after McAfee. Like, I don't know much about like how wrestling works like right now with stuff, but I'm surprised you wouldn't like separate those two more because of the type of personalities they are. Because they both bring a lot of energy, and it's a different type of energy. So I'm surprised. Like that's a big, I don't know. It's interesting.
They're pushing Logan Paul as a potential main eventer. I mean, he's already had a main event match against Roman Reigns. Obviously, a great match against Seth Rollins. It was in my top 3 for the night. Really well put together. I just, like I said, the product placement gets to me. I get that they have to be able to pay for all of the things that they do. Somebody had to pay for that outrageous pyro budget for this year. So,
yeah,
it's fine, right? Actually, I think I may have missed one out of order because I think I forgot to talk about Ray versus Dominic. We'll talk about that one after this one. So yeah, Rollins got the win over Logan Paul. Logan Paul still looks phenomenal in the ring, regardless of whether or not you think he belongs there. I'm of the opinion that he could come or go. I don't really have strong feelings on him. He is an able performer. Like, the dude does really well. I just don't know how I feel about these part-timers.
It's weird to say, but like the Paul brothers, man, like they can do some stuff. Like they're not
very athletic.
Yeah, they're not below average. Like they're very average. I would say above average in like what they do. Like I know his brother just lost in boxing too, but like nonetheless, dude, the guy put on quite the show. So
yeah,
I mean, the brothers are good.
They've made good showings. You know, they definitely know how to work a crowd, which is handy for WWE. They made the mistake of trying to make Logan Paul a face at certain points, and he really is not. Until there's a greater separation from how he became famous as a social media star, I think we should just run him as a heel and let that be
like
them be
Miz.
Where he's at. Exactly. The Miz is never a face. He's never the good guy. He's always the little scummy guy. So yeah, Rollins wins over Logan Paul with a stomp. It was a fantastic match. Lots of good spots. I loved that KSI is the one that ate the big elbow drop through the table for that particular spot. I thought that was well done. So yeah, great match. I give it a B+. Product placement ruined that from being an A.
You don't want some Prime energy drink or Prime sports drink or Prime?
Point, I'm never drinking Prime anything. Like, I canceled my Amazon Prime subscription just because of that. Anything that's directly associated with that word, or even indirectly. So then I believe we had Ray versus Dominic Mysterio. So only the second time in WrestleMania history there's been a father versus son match.
What was the first one?
Shane
I definitely
versus
can't think
Vince.
Of it. Did that happen at WrestleMania? Jesus.
They had a WrestleMania. They had a WrestleMania moment. But I
Oh my
digress.
God.
Skipping away from the disaster that is the McMahon family. Ray won over Dominic Mysterio. Of course, no way you're going to have the Hall of Famer lose the day after he's inaugurated into the Hall of Fame. That was definitely not going to happen. Period. Full stop. So their entrances were both amazing. Dom's was ridiculously over the top, leaning into the he had done prison time gimmick, i.e., he spent a night in county jail before he was bailed out, and they're leaning really hard that he's done hard time as like the gimmick. So he came out in a correctional van. They did this little vignette of videos of him being like escorted out of this like high security facility or whatever. Totally ridiculous. I laughed the entire time. The ring gear was excellent for it. However, entrance of the night, I gotta give to Ray. Nothing is cooler than riding in a lowrider while Latino Heat plays, being driven by Snoop Dogg. Ray got driven to the ring in a lowrider in homage to Eddie Guerrero, driven by Snoop Dogg, and it doesn't get any fucking cooler than that. Like, if your commute to work involves Snoop Dogg and a lowrider, you're set. Like, you've made it. That's the pinnacle.
It's always cool when they do the intros like a certain way. That was a big thing in the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
So I would imagine because Ray was so big then, that also played into it, not just the Eddie, but the fact that he came from that era when they used to do it a lot, especially my personal hero, Steve Austin, with the beer truck and stuff like that. It's always impressive to see. And I gotta say, it was the clips I saw. He could still move. I'm really surprised. Go. Yeah, it was a lot better than I thought because he's up. He's got to be up there. Like he's got to be
40s now, I think. Mid to late 40s. He did a fantastic job. To both guys, in point of fact, Dom is becoming exceedingly a good worker. Obviously, under the tutelage of his father, he's got a lot of stuff figured out. There were some spots there that were obviously rest spots for Ray. Wanted to make sure he wasn't pushing too hard. He is getting older, can't be 1,000% all the time. So some pretty obvious rest spots happening, which is fine. At the end of the day, Ray gets the victory. Bad Bunny interfered to prevent Dom from using the chain to hit Ray. That little particular interaction gave Ray the upper hand. He hits the 619. 1, 2, 3. Dom goes down as the loser. Ray gets to stand tall. So definitely a fun match.
Absolute favorite move when I play wrestling games. I've not watched wrestling in forever, but I play the games, dude. The video games has to be some of the best, dude. Like the controls are always good. Like the graphics are pretty good. The way you can make your character in the story mode's usually pretty cool. But even if you don't, if you just like joke around on exhibition matches with people, man, like wrestling games are just fun.
Yeah, I wish Ray was still in the shape to do the West Coast pop. Obviously, he's not anymore, which is fine. That's a tough one to pull off. You're talking about you have to springboard off the top ropes. You have to land on somebody's shoulder. They then have to jump and do a flip. You want to make sure nobody gets hurt. Ray obviously has to land correct. The person who's taking the move obviously has to land correct. It's definitely a hard one to pull off, but I miss seeing it. So
upside is at least he doesn't try to do it though anymore, because like some people like they try to do their finishers as they get up there in age, and it's like you should probably find a new one, man. Maybe like a hard slap to the chest or something.
Goldberg cussed the hell out of the Undertaker in Saudi Arabia trying to pull off a jackknife.
Yeah, but moving on from that, hit an age,
SmackDown Women's Championship match: Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. The correct call was made on this one. Rhea Ripley, your new SmackDown Women's Champ. I saw this one coming a mile away for two reasons. One, if Rhea had lost, there's nothing you can do with her anymore. She loses any validity in any storyline that she's involved in. She's been billed as this dominant, super strong, crafty, conniving, but also dedicated heel, right?
Yeah.
Charlotte, they tried to bring her in as a face. Nobody cared for it. Charlotte's just not a great face. Maybe once or twice a year you can get people to really cheer for her. Most of the time, it's really easy for Charlotte to elicit boos in the same way that people always wanted to cheer for Ric Flair because he was ridiculous and over the top even when he was trying to play a heel character. Opposite holds true. Everybody just wants to boo Charlotte Flair. She makes a fantastic heel. It's really she's so good at it. She really is. She can come across as this condescending, holier than thou or like far superior person than any other. Not to mention the fact that her losing the title, though, again, the second part of my point, I got to get this out before I lose track of it, is so she can win the title again. Because she will be the one that breaks Ric Flair's record.
You think they're going to do that?
I 100% think they're going to do that.
It's going to come down to if the crowd starts to like her more in one way or another. Like, even her,
but they love to boo her.
Let's watch her interviews and stuff, though. Like, they love to boo her, but I don't see her breaking. It's going to take a lot to break Ric Flair's record because he was so loved.
She's at 14. She's at 14 currently. Ric Flair's at 17.
Man, it'll be interesting. I don't know.
And she did it faster than him. I'm telling you, she's the one to break the individual title holder record.
I mean, she also came in at more of a lull than when he was in. It was impressive when he did it. There was a lot more. He had a lot more competition. He was literally carrying WCW for the longest time.
Oh, 100% agree. However, there has been some serious competition in the women's division for WWE. It's come a long way from the Attitude Era.
Oh, yeah. I think it was like two good ones, like when you watched it. Like, I don't care what anybody says, like to actually watch the matches, like maybe two at the time, like Lita.
Yeah, the Attitude Era, Lita, Trish Stratus, Chyna.
Yeah, that was probably
the only
like
three
all the other ones
that were actual wrestlers and not just, a set of tight clothes, so to speak. But match was fantastic. Definitely showcased Rhea Ripley's strength. It showcased Charlotte as this, well thought out, well planned, technical wrestler. Did showcase her strength a little bit because she is strong. She can pick people up and throw them around when she wants to. Rhea, again, brute power overcame finesse and ring knowledge on this one. Won with an avalanche riptide from the top rope, which was super cool to see. It was a great spot. Rhea Ripley, new champion. Look forward to her having a pretty decently long reign as the SmackDown Women's Champ before dropping the title, hopefully to a face. And hopefully that face isn't Charlotte Flair being rammed down our throat again as the good guy. Bring her back. Let her be a jerk, as she is designed to be. Give me a different babyface to take the title off of her. Even if it's somebody just held it intermittently before they could pass it back and forth between Rhea and Charlotte, I don't care. Just stop trying to make Charlotte Flair a face. It's not working, man. It's not working. On to the main event.
We have to start watching this shit, dude.
It's good. I'm telling you, it's the best it's been. It's the best it's been. KO and Sami Zayn versus the Usos was our main event. The Universal or Unified Tag Team titles. The comeback story. KO and Sami Zayn, their love-hate relationship currently at the love stage. Overcoming adversity, defeating the Usos, becoming the new Unified Tag Team champions. Right person got the pinfall with Sami Zayn, I should say, hitting the haluva kick onto Jey Uso, getting the pin, having that be a victory and a big WrestleMania moment for both Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. This makes Kevin Owens a Grand Slam champion, which means he's
won them all.
He's won a World Heavyweight title. He's won the U.S. title, the IC title, and now both tag titles. It was the only one he was missing. This gives Sami Zayn 2 of 4. Hopefully we get to see Sami Zayn in a main event feud again. This whole bloodline thing has just been absolutely immaculate. So good. So lots of great spots. Got to see KO pull off a series of stunners, which is always great. He does it almost as good as Steve Austin. doesn't have anybody selling for him quite as well on the other side, with The Rock just absolutely overselling the stunner every time it happened. But good match. Got to see a lot of the big moves from both guys. You got to see the 1D from the Usos. You got to see the stereo splash. Lots of false finishes. Lots of ups and downs. By the end of it, the crowd was starting to get gassed. They were just emotionally drained. These false finishes were biting hard.
Dude, that was one thing I used to love, dude. The just the craziness with the finishes, man. When people just couldn't get it done, you just get so worked up when it would be good, though. Like, it can't be like nonsense. Like, it's really got to be good, man.
The false finish on these was so believable. On some of them, I was like, crap, there's another big move. You know, you had I call it the super kick symphony, but it's where they hit a series of super kicks. They hit this stereo super kicks in the corner. They got him while he was on the knees with the double super kick. I was like, man. I was like, they're just going to keep... I was like, if the Usos had won, I definitely would have switched my perspective in regards to the Roman Reigns thing. I was like, if the Usos win, Roman's winning. I was like, Usos lost. I was like, there's still a chance that Roman loses. So, that was night one. Again, KO and Sami Zayn took the tag team belts off the Usos, which is great. We're starting to see the bloodline descend into a little bit of chaos, which is good for storytelling purposes. And that wrapped up 9-1. Fantastic show. I'll give it an A overall. Two highlights, Rhea and Charlotte, and then the Usos versus KO and Zayn. Both of those A+ matches.
2 nights now. That's so crazy to me. Like, I never thought it would get to the point to where they would do something like this, just because it was so big before, like WrestleMania.
You have to think they have 3 full-time shows now. They have NXT, full-time show, happens every week. They have Raw, happens every week. They have SmackDown, happens every week. And each one of these shows has their own roster. You can't shrink all of that down into one night unless you want to have your pay-per-view start at like noon and then get done at midnight. And that's just too much, right? The crowd's going to get tired 2/3 of the way through.
Off-topic question, but it's got to be asked now because we brought it up a couple times. Do you think the Attitude Era was so good because it was so small and condensed a group compared to what it is now? Like, when you look, like, it was... What's that?
Huge roster in the Attitude Era. Huge roster.
There was, but who... Like, there was so few that, like, were big predominant names to me. Like, when I look back, when I think about it, like, memorable, like, truly memorable moments, I can only count, like, so many. Like, obviously, Austin, I'm biased. Undertaker, Rock, Triple H. I would actually say Shawn Michaels more to kind of... I don't think Triple H took off really till towards the end of it. Because him and The Rock ended up going into it. Like, when I look back, like, it was a much smaller... To me, it seemed smaller. He came and went, though. Like, his character, like... And he changed, like, he was Dude Love, and, like...
But he won the Monday Night Wars. He's the reason WWE won the Monday Night Wars.
I'm not saying he doesn't have, like...
Chris Jericho. You forgot Chris Jericho?
I didn't forget him. I'm just saying, like, the most memorable people, like, that had, like, the things that constantly gripped me during the Attitude Era was such a small roster compared to now.
Unified heavyweight champion. He brought both belts together for him for the big undisputed title.
I'm just telling you, when I think of memorable moments, like,
I think your nostalgia is getting in the way of fact.
No, it is. I'm not. Like, totally is. This is what I'm talking about.
Massive. Massive, and it still is. It has not really shrunk or gotten that much bigger, in my opinion.
Okay, see, that's what I was getting at. Like, it seems like it seems now with wrestling, just from reading it and, like, kind of peeking at it a little bit here and there, it seems like there's more characters to me almost, like, involved at one time. Like, usually when you had all those characters, like, some of them would kind of take a back seat for a while. So you didn't seem to have as many storylines going. And like I said, like, I watched a lot, like, Raw and stuff when it came out, and WCW. Yeah. And, like, when I really think about it, like, big memorable moments, I always think, like, The Rock and Austin. And then I think, like, The Rock and Triple H. Like, that was huge towards the end of the Attitude Era, if I'm not mistaken. It was those two.
That was towards the end of the Attitude Era. It was Rock and Austin.
See, I thought they were the middle of it. I thought it was Triple H and The Rock.
They carried through the height. then you started getting into the ruthless aggression era. Because once Stone Cold was gone, that was one of the death knells for the Attitude Era. So yeah, the rosters have gotten bigger. I'm not going to dispute that. But again, you're running 3 full-time shows. Raw is 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know, SmackDown's 2. This was back when Raw was a 2-hour show, and that was considered obscenely long. And
yeah, I remember
SmackDown
when it
was
switched,
an hour
dude.
on a Thursday night. So
Oh, dude,
yeah,
I definitely
shows have gotten
remember.
bigger. The rosters have gotten bigger. More people get to be showcased, which is always great. So moving on to night 2, started off with a snore. Lesnar versus Omos was just boring. You did get to see Brock fight from the underdog position, which is great. It's neat that there's somebody they're going to try and bill as stronger, but chemistry was not there between the two. Omos is extremely clunky and boring in the ring. He's not very well refined, but he's big, and it's easy to market big.
Vince McMahon.
I'm not going to dispute that at all. I'm not going to dispute the taller the better. So, yeah, that was my match. I give it a D. It was neat to see Brock Lesnar fight as the underdog, but at the end of the day, that was about it. F5 ended the match, almost got the pin. I like Brock Lesnar in the right circumstances.
See, I just never found him interesting. I didn't think his acting was that great. I liked it better in the UFC. He seemed to be pretty decent, but
he was good. He was good in the UFC until he got that stomach virus, and then that killed his career because his midsection just got soft. You saw him take that one big body shot from Cain Velasquez, and you could tell he was done. Just emotionally, he was already out of that fight. But that's too much reality for my professional wrestling. Let's get back to fantasy. So yeah, boring opener, big snooze fest. That was your chance to go to the bathroom, make sure all your snacks were squared away. You didn't miss anything with Lesnar v Omos. Up next,
maybe that's why they started with snoozes on both fights, was to make sure everybody could find their seats, have their snacks, all their merch.
The Cena Theory one was just kind of a foregone conclusion. You knew Cena wasn't going to get the win. You knew he was there to put Theory over. You got to see him hit his highlight moves. You got to see the attitude adjustment. You got to see the STF. You got to see the 5-knuckle shuffle. At the end of the day, A-Town down, seals the deal. Cena's out. That's it. So, yeah, women's tag team 4-way battle. Rousey Baszler took the win. They were the only actual tag team that competed in this. The women's tag division right now is Spartan. They just throw 2 female superstars together and go, "You're a tag team now." And they go, "Why?" And they're like, "You're a tag team now." There's no story behind any of them being together. There was no build up to why Natalya and Shotzi Blackheart were a team. They didn't have Shotzi's tank, which to me ruined that whole entrance. It is good to see Natalya at WrestleMania again. She's one of my favorites of all time. Of course, one of the active members of the Heart Foundation, or the Heart Dungeon as they call it, which is their training academy. But yeah, yes. Correct result on that one. Rousey Baszler for the win. They won via submission. Raquel Rodriguez got to look like an absolute superstar. She's strong as hell. I'm sure that will come into a showcase down the road in her inevitable run to a title match of some kind. But
is Rousey big right now in wrestling? Because
Rousey's always
big. I said, I got to get back into it, so I'm just curious.
Is like a snarky heel. She does fantastic. She can do babyface under the right circumstances. She's been a babyface before, semi-successfully. I really like what they're doing with the Rousey Baszler, where it's like, I'm the baddest woman on the planet. You're also a badass. Let's get together and just beat the crap out of people. I love how that's being built. They're getting together. They're hurting people. It's not even about victory. It's about inflicting pain. Very Shamrock era.
Yeah, I remember Shamrock used to do that all the time.
Let's just hurt people. Yeah, and that was the whole gimmick. And this is fine. It's a good gimmick. They fit it well. Again, Baszler and Rousey both strong MMA backgrounds. They've got all that ground game that they can lean into. So I think it's the right deal. Let's have them take the belts off of Lita and Becky Lynch, so I can get Becky Lynch back into the title picture because I need Becky 2 belts back in my life really bad. We then had Gunther versus Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre for the
Sheamus,
Intercontinental
your
title.
cousin.
My cousin Sheamus, yeah.
Dude.
Not the ending that I would have called. I had Sheamus winning this to become a Grand Slam champion as well. However, the IC title still eludes him.
Sheamus seems like he's on like the downswing of everything.
Great mid-carder. He's got a good stable around him right now. He's reinvigorated because he definitely hit a big downturn right after Cesaro left. Of course, that's his real-life friend. It was his travel companion when they were both in the WWE. Of course, Cesaro now in AEW. So, you know, he lost the homie, right? And so he did take a little bit of a downturn. They've paired him back up with the Brawling Brutes in Butch and the Sundance Kid. I can't remember the other guy right now. Somebody will correct me, I'm sure, on Twitter or Facebook with his name. But Butch used to be Pete Dunne. I have no idea. I can't remember the other guy's name at all right now, and it's hurting me. But on to the match.
Sundance Kid?
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid?
I just mean, like, are they doing the whole X-Pac thing again where he was...
No.
What was he? Like,
he was
Billy
the 1, 2, 3 kid. But it's not even kid. It's not even kid in his name. I was just like, because the other dude's Butch, like, my default is to the Sundance Kid. Because one dude's named Butch and the other one's named something else, and I can't remember right now. But you keep bringing attention to it. Quit showcasing my flaws. Gunther down early in that match, ate a Claymore kick right away. We got to see Sheamus and Drew McIntyre absolutely go at it, and those dudes literally hold nothing back when it comes to those clubbing blows they put on one another. If anybody follows them on Instagram or Twitter, their chests were just covered in welts and bruises at the end of that match. Both of those dudes absolutely beat up. But at the end of the day, Gunther stands strong. Imperium still holds on to the IC title. I'm giving that match an A. It's always good to see those guys definitely go at it. Everybody got to have their showcase moment, which is great. You know, nobody looked particularly weak. Nobody looked domineeringly strong. Made it look like it was a competitive shot for each member. Not so many false finishes on this one until right there at the end. But again, Powerbomb Symphony, Gunther stands tall as your IC champion. I can see why they did it. Like, I understand that booking decision. It makes total sense. They're trying to continue to develop and build Gunther. At some point, he will be a main event superstar. Hands down, going to be in the title picture down the road. Right now, I think they still feel like he needs a little bit of development on the main roster, which is fine. But definitely a good match. And to quote my cousin Sheamus, banger after banger after banger. It was a good match. I'm not going to give it 5 stars, but I'm definitely giving it an A. It was fun to watch. It's always exciting to see those guys absolutely unleash.
I definitely remember Sheamus was good with the mic. Sheamus was always good.
Drew's
like in the ring
good
too,
with the
but
mic.
with the mic.
Yeah, both of them, again, really charismatic talents. Enjoy both of them, especially their personalities right now, which is like, let's go out and have a fight. I'm just here to have a match and, you know, put people down. So get to our palate cleanser moment of the night. Shane O'Mac made his WrestleMania return. And I didn't give a shit. That's the only way I can describe this. I don't care to see Shane. I don't care to see Shane ever again, in point of fact. He was coming to have his WrestleMania moment. He has one every year. He does something wild like jumping from the turnbuckle through a table or a backflip off the Titantron through like a series of tables stacked over thumbtacks or whatever weird stuff that Shane's going to do that year. A coast to coast into a trash can. Like he does a big spot every year and it's fine. It's just I don't care to see Shane McMahon on TV anymore. I will say I hope he recovers quickly. He did tear his quad during that little moment. He went to leapfrog over the Miz. Tore his quad. Refs did a good job of getting him out of there and into safety, which led to probably one of the funniest moments of the night, which I think was booked way better than Miz versus Shane McMahon, and that was Snoop Dogg versus The Miz, and Snoop hit the most Snoop Dogg people's elbow I have ever seen in my entire life. And after he hit it, if you watch closely, you can hear The Miz and see The Miz shout at him, cover, 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 because Snoop Dogg was about to just get up and celebrate without actually getting the pinfall. So again, super Snoop Dogg moment. I absolutely loved it. Definitely better. It was definitely better watching Snoop Dogg do the people's elbow than seeing Shane McMahon have a match, if I'm being perfectly honest. So again, I wish Shane the best in his recovery. No, that was called on the fly 100%. You can't fake a quad injury. Like, the dude legit went to the hospital.
No, I don't mean the quad injury. I mean Snoop Dogg getting involved. Do you think that was planned? Like the people's elbows? Or he just, like, Shane went down and Snoop was like, I'm going to fucking save the day.
I think it was the same. I think it was the same thing as, like, it was supposed to be the same thing as when he left Miz against Pat McAfee. Because Snoop was like, yeah, do what you do. You got this. Like, he's just a football player. You a professional wrestler. This your job. And, like, he just got out and left Miz, like, out to dry against Pat McAfee. It was supposed to be the same thing. Snoop was just supposed to leave the Miz high and dry against Shane. Of course, again, Shane with the very serious injury. Like I said, wishing him a speedy recovery. Please stay off television. So Snoop Dogg now 1-0 at WrestleMania. The streak is alive. He and Pat McAfee are going to put their streaks on the line next year, hopefully. Next, we had my favorite match of the night. The Devil, Edge, versus the Demon, Finn Balor. Both of these entrances were absolutely amazing. I will say the Demon's entrance is a little better when they can shut the lights off. It was still a little bright to get the full effect of the Demon Balor coming down to the ring. Edge's entrance, top tier. Probably put it as the best entrance of the night, if I'm being honest.
He was always good for it, though, man. Edge was always pretty good. Like, I don't think he got it.
Still is. Edge is still good.
I don't think he got enough recognition, like, early on when he was out there with his brother and stuff with that weird vampire shit they were doing initially.
There was a strong rumor that Gangrel was going to be at WrestleMania. I think he was at WrestleMania, but I don't think he was involved in WrestleMania because there was some talk that the Brood was getting back together.
Since we're a nerdy news podcast type thing, do you really think Gangrel is probably owned by World of Darkness at this stage? Probably couldn't come back.
Who knows? Probably. I mean, honestly, who knows what trademarks WWE still has out on performers' names? Like, you got to think.
Oh, that's
Cody,
a good point.
For the first year of AEW, Cody Rhodes had to wrestle under the name Cody, the American Nightmare, because he couldn't use Cody Rhodes because WWE owned the trademark.
Did not know that.
They let it expire. They did not try to renew it or withhold it from him. They just didn't release it early, which was still spiteful. But they didn't renew the trademark to prevent him from getting it.
I mean, you can't be mad at them for holding on to something that they paid
it's
that
the dude's
money.
Name. It's the guy's
name. They paid for it, though. Like, if you buy something, you're going to return it early? I'm not going to return it. I rented it for the full 365 days. It's mine. You're not getting it 2 days early. Sorry about your luck.
Sorry that we own your name. Go wrestle under somebody else. Get out of here.
Yeah. Don't let someone trademark your name.
I've talked about it on this podcast before.
Yeah.
You're a professional wrestler. Trademark your own shit. You own the rights to your name. Don't let WWE have it. But yeah, match was fantastic. It was a Hell in a Cell. We're back to the traditional color of the Hell in a Cell, which is that standard steel gray chain link, which is great. That weird red monstrosity that they tried to introduce was absolutely abysmal. It did. It was like
simple, stupid.
It was like that shiny lacquer finish, like spray paint on there. It was gross.
Oh my god, dude!
Tons of weapons used in a variety of colors. I was surprised to see the different colors of chairs. You had red for Edge. You had purple for Finn Balor. Same thing with the kendo sticks. They were all color-coded. Finn Balor did take a pretty serious bump and a very nasty cut. Again, if you're on Instagram or Twitter, you have seen this injury. He had to get a topical numbing agent and staples put into his head during the match.
Really?
Yeah,
So that
medical
wasn't something
personnel
that
came out there
was.
to check him out to see if he could finish. Thankfully, as it stands right now, no concussion. Obviously, he's being monitored closely. That was a very serious split to his head. You could see it. I mean, it went from here to here. It was huge.
Wow.
Got out there quick, got him stapled up. He was trickling a little bit of blood, which is to be expected from a head injury, but finished strong, finished the match the way it was declared to be finished. I guess it didn't go off script too much. Hats off to Edge for being the senior performer. Took focus off the medical personnel attending to Finn Balor by grabbing random shit from underneath the ring. He grabbed a big armful of kendo sticks and like threw them in there. He grabbed like another table and looked at it for a minute before setting it and shoving it back down under there. Was taking his time, pulled out a tool bag and like rummaged through it. I think he threw a 10mm socket in there. That way they couldn't find it later on. Did a really good job of just looking busy, looking like he was getting ready to take on the Demon some more while they attended to Finn Balor. Match ended with a concerto, which is a fitting finish. Edge gets the victory, and I give it an A+, probably the best Hell in a Cell I've seen in the past several years.
What'd you think of that intro? Someone said, what's his name? Big name actor. Can't think of it now. Played the Gladiator.
Russell Crowe?
Yeah.
Whose entrance?
Wasn't he part of it? I swear to see, I was only watching clips. I should have actually watched the real thing, but I
watched both their entrances. He was wearing that big shiny like glass helmet. Rey Mysterio did have a Russell Crowe gladiator-esque mask on for the Hall of Fame announcement. But
he did a promo.
That's
what it was. That was a really good promo, though.
Yeah.
Like, if you get a chance to see anything with Russell Crowe, I mean, he's the gladiator. But...
He's Maximus.
Yeah.
But Edge versus Demon Balor, fantastic. Again, best Hell in a Cell match I've seen in a long time. I was expecting them to get to the top of the cage at one point, but the finish was good without it. I got to see an execution from the top of a ladder, which I have not seen since the days of Edge and Christian versus the Hardys, back in those wild TLC matches that they used to have.
Oh, they were so good. I still watched it then. So
sad
good
to see the Demon get pinned clean. I wish it had just been regular Finn Balor and we had kind of kept the Demon persona off to the side. The shtick with the Demon personas that was undefeated, obviously Roman Reigns kind of brought that to an end with this weird like count out finish thing. But I digress. Edge is the victor. Let's move on from this feud. Edge has won. Let's bring him in to make another superstar look good. Let's have Finn Balor take a brief break and then come roaring back again as a heel or a face, whatever gets Finn Balor on TV. Now to our main event, which I like to refer to as Travis's Heartbreak. Go ahead, Eric.
Wasn't there one other fight? Bianca Belair and Asuka. Did that happen?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Bianca Belair and Asuka. I forgot that one in my notes. My apologies. I did skip
Not very memorable, I'm guessing.
It was an okay match.
It says it was good.
Because both performers are amazing. There was just really no build-up. There was no story to this match. Asuka won at Elimination Chamber. She got to go against Bianca Belair. That was kind of the whole shtick of the build-up, which is fine. I never really expected... I wanted Asuka to win. I made that clear on the Facebook post. Always rooting for Asuka. I did not actually think it was going to happen. Bianca Belair is going to hold on to that belt a little longer. Her entrance was fantastic with like the kids that came out and danced that all did the little hair whip thing that she does. I thought that was super cool.
Did you hear about like one of them lost their mom that morning or something?
No, I did not hear about that.
Dude, there was...
I did see a really nice clip at the back of Seth Rollins cheering him on because that man is an absolute freaking hero. But
yeah, but I didn't know that they do like almost like a sports thing. Like afterwards, like Triple H came out and talked about it.
Yeah, they had a press conference. I didn't watch it. I don't like watching the wrestling press conferences. So
I didn't really watch it. Kind of like WrestleMania, obviously, but I caught clips and things like that. And yeah, he talked about it. I guess like one of those kids, and I was like, dang, man, still came down and performed, doing big things.
Good for her again. Well, then our condolences to that young person.
While we
So
continue, I'll find out who it is so we can give
so
the
yeah,
proper.
Asuka. I remember the match now. Asuka went for the mist. It missed. Get it? Um, but yeah, didn't connect. KOD from Bianca Belair. She is still your Raw Women's Champion. I love seeing Asuka on TV. Always give me more of Asuka. Again, right choice to keep the strap on Bianca Belair. It's where it belongs until we can feasibly create a superstar to take it off of her. Definitely showcased Bianca's strength, just straight picking Asuka up and tossing her around. Bianca Belair is an amazing athlete. Asuka, also amazing athlete. They focused on her striking ability for a brief time, but again, not really any false finishes on that one as far as I can remember. But ably performed. Well done. Let's move Bianca into a feud that I actually care about instead of just throwing her up against Asuka and hoping for the best.
I actually was reading in a couple different Twitter posts that there isn't a lot of feuds, like really good ones going right now, and that was part of the problem with WrestleMania. Like there was a lot of good matches, like there's a lot of good people, like technically sound, they can act, they can make it interesting and things like that, but there's not a lot of the feuds going right now.
Theory and Cena was a big feud. That's been building for a while because Theory's just been calling Cena out for months. The Becky
Is he
Trish
hating
Lita
Hollywood?
damage control, like going back and forth, that has been a long running feud that they've been doing for a while. Rollins and Logan Paul has been going on since the Royal Rumble. For those of you that watched the Royal Rumble, Logan Paul eliminated Seth Rollins. He then interfered in Rollins' match at Elimination Chamber. So they had their match at WrestleMania. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte. Rhea was the Royal Rumble winner. She chose Charlotte. That's always just a built-in feud with whoever wins the Rumble. KO and Sami Zayn, longest running storyline in WWE history in their feud with the Bloodline. Their whole Bloodline story arc has just been absolutely amazing. I talk about it all the time, which leads to our WrestleMania Night 2 main event, Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. So many false finishes, so much adoration. Cody came out to a massive pop. For those of you that follow the real life side of wrestling, if you watch that match, Cody Rhodes goes over to the side, gives a young man his weight belt, says Cody on it, has a bunch of like the signatures and stuff on the inside, all the promotions he's worked for. That belt went to Brody Lee, John Huber's son. They call him -1. Brody Lee, of course, tragically passing away a couple of years ago of, I believe, a heart or lung related issue, not COVID, but at the height of COVID had some type of breathing problem. It eventually led to his death. Cody Rhodes and AEW did a fantastic job providing care and comfort for the Huber family. Cody went out of his way to make sure that Brody Jr. had anything and everything he could need. So definitely a meaningful moment watching Cody come over there, not only hug his daughter and greet his wife, but also give that weight belt to old -1 and the Huber family. Which is kind of nice to see that relationship is still carrying on, even though Cody's no longer with AEW. Again, that real side of wrestling, that's one of the ones where I like to see a little bit of humanity in these people that always seemed a little larger than life. Roman Reigns came out and was a dick. That's his personality. He's a jerk, and that's fine. He plays it very well. He came out with this like snarky, pompous entrance. He sneered at everybody. He told the crowd to acknowledge him. He threw up the one. Yeah, he came out and was a jerk. Mission accomplished.
You think he could just be tired of like being the winner and just truly wants the break we talked about last week?
Yeah,
like
I
off
thought
camera,
sure,
obviously, folks. Yeah. We didn't talk about it in the episode. We talked about it a little bit afterwards because I correctly stated there was no way in hell Cody Rhodes was going to win that match. I was like, they're not going to let it happen. I mean, maybe I'm wrong on the reason, which is fine. But I was like, there is no way Cody is beating this dude.
Yeah, Roman Reigns won after a series of interference. I can't recall the last time that Roman Reigns has won a match clean without outside interference. when it comes to his title pictures. I don't think it's happened recently. I think there's always been some sort of outside influence, whether it directly results in the outcome of the match or not. He's always had the backup of the bloodline. You got to see the run-in from the Usos, which led to the run-in from KO and Sami Zayn to chase the Usos off. Solo Sikoa obviously getting involved at the end. Hit Rhodes with the Samoan Spike. Reigns hit Rhodes with the spear. 1, 2, 3, match over. This one had a lot of false finishes. It had a ref bump. It had interference. It had everything. It also had a lot of emotion in regards to it. This is also getting to the point where I can't really recall the last time a Royal Rumble winner successfully won the championship at WrestleMania, which not great for storytelling purposes in regards to someone winning the Royal Rumble. It's kind of hard to skyrocket somebody to the top by making them a Royal Rumble winner if you have them lose. It's just a poor booking decision. This was one of the ones where the crowd wanted it. It's time to take it off Roman Reigns. He's had it for 950 days, for Christ's sake. You can take the belts off of him safely. He's going to go down in history as probably one of the longest reigning champions ever, if not the longest reigning champion ever. The time was right. The moment was right. The person was right. For whatever reason, creative made a different call. I'm not saying it was Vince. I'm not saying it was Triple H. For whatever reason, creative decided wasn't the time to put it on Cody. I'm hoping that there's a little more collapse in the bloodline and we see a rematch between Cody and Roman at Backlash for a single title, not both, but a single title that Cody wins. We then propel Roman Reigns into a feud with either Jimmy or Jey Uso, perhaps Solo Sikoa for the other title, and then give me a break from Roman Reigns and the bloodline. The storyline has been fantastic. I just feel like it's time to start bringing it to a close. Match was good.
Yeah.
I give it an A+. I give the ending an F. The match itself, absolutely amazing. Both guys are fantastic performers. It was well done. Somebody needs to give Paul Heyman an Emmy. That man can overact on the outside of the ring so well. His facial expressions made every move look like it was devastating. He sold false finishes by just being on the outside of the ring and counting along with the referee. Like, Paul Heyman does so much to make WWE TV and pay-per-views amazing. I think he needs to get a little more credit than what he does. But yeah, Roman Reigns is still your champion. We'll get to see him hold the titles for a little longer. I just don't know who's next. Like, how can you possibly bill anybody against him when he's beat everyone?
Here you go. This is what's going to happen now. So, from reading everything and not watching anything, this is a total outsider view.
Just total shot in the dark.
Absolutely. So, Cody and the other two that came out to help him during the fight are going to do...
Sami Zayn and KO.
Yeah. So, those three against Bloodline. That's the next big thing. And then after that, it's going to turn into just Cody versus Reigns. And Cody will take it.
That's been the big thing.
Because you can't...
Is KO and Sami Zayn. That's been a long-running deal of, like, are they going to get back together? Are they going to be friends? They eventually did right before WrestleMania, which was great to see them again win the tag titles. I would like to see some inner turmoil more from the bloodline. I would like to see Jimmy and Jey kind of have a falling out with Roman. If dreams come true, this is how I would have built the bloodline story arc at the end. Cody wins at WrestleMania. Monday after WrestleMania, Roman Reigns has a meeting with the bloodline. He loses his temper with everybody. Rikishi, who is the father of the Usos and Solo Sikoa, yeah, that's their dad, is Rikishi. Big
That's
Quiche,
awesome.
comes out to try and calm Roman Reigns down. Roman Reigns hits Rikishi with a spear or whatever move he can take, maybe a Superman punch, something that's easy to take and easy to sell. Solo Sikoa absolutely snaps, loses his mind, hits Roman Reigns with the Samoan Spike. We now have an instant feud to push Solo Sikoa to the top of the main event ladder. Roman Reigns gets to take a break. Solo Sikoa becomes a new star. The Usos get to move on to just being a tag team again, maybe work on their brother dynamic with one another. It's like, well, you left me with Roman, and Roman was beating the shit out of me and he used you to get to me. Like, you can bring all that stuff back up. Maybe have them feud with each other for a little while before they get back together as a tag team. Lots of storyline could happen out of that.
There's
alas, we're
boatloads of
not getting any of
options.
that. Yeah, and we'll see where it goes. I'm not saying it's the wrong. Like, I'm saying it was the wrong choice. Like, you were at right time, right person, right event.
No, you
didn't make the call.
You're probably right, but they want to build it to be bigger.
Well, I mean, it doesn't get bigger than WrestleMania. I mean, it's the biggest night of the year for WWE.
No, I just mean like they're going to build it up. Like this is a stepping stone. Like you lose this fight, and like now you'll probably see the Bloodline or whatever. They're probably going to feud now because Reigns will take all the credit for winning all these matches, but really it's his buddies that come in, and then they'll all start hating each other.
He'll shit all over the Usos for losing the tag team titles. I'm sure that's I'm sure that's happening right now as we speak. Raw is currently on air while we're recording this, so we'll see what the fallout's going to be. Hopefully you follow along. Definitely the most exciting night of the year for professional wrestling.
Yeah, I'll have to get back into it because after doing like starting this podcast and like you talking so much about it and like clipping some of the WrestleMania, it seems like it's probably where it was during Attitude. So it'll be interesting to get into it. I'll have to find somebody to cheer for, like Austin. Used to have all my Austin T-shirts.
Yeah,
I could slam beers at the time because, underage. But
maybe with Endeavor picking up WWE, we get to see a little more, we'll say, aggressive programming in regards to the way promos are cut. Maybe we'll get to see a little more big bumps, big spots. Maybe a little bit of swearing on TV again. Hopefully the PG era is coming to a close and we can embrace a new era under Endeavor. So who knows? Maybe WWE is going to be better than it's ever been. We'll just have to see.
I think they're going to. I think they might even mix talent once in a while.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's definitely
because a lot of wrestlers want to go over to UFC.
Actually, you have more people retiring out of UFC wanting to go into professional wrestling.
Well, I was about to say that too. I was going to say there seems to be a lot of people from UFC coming right over to wrestling too. So it'd be interesting to see them.
You don't see too much coming out of professional wrestling into like mixed martial arts, just because that skill set drastic. You had the only people I've seen is Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar, and CM Punk. CM Punk was
horrible.
Oh yeah, like 0-5, like he was just terrible. Lesnar obviously became a world champion. Bobby Lashley, middle of the road, he was okay. Doesn't have the speed and agility as far as MMA goes to compete. Now the guy's very fast, he's very agile, he's obviously an amazing athlete. Bobby Lashley is a monster of a human being, but
hear me out though. They're gonna have WWE somehow get involved with that weird reality show that UFC does.
Tough.
That's where I see it really
the
playing
Ultimate Fighter.
in. Oh maybe. Yeah, you can see a team of like wrestlers and then like a team of UFC guys.
But the UFC guys are going to beat their ass every single time. The problem is if you have the UFC guys go against the WWE guys in like a professional wrestling atmosphere, you lose credit on the UFC side because everyone's going to be like, "Well, it's staged." Right?
That's where it's going to get interesting to see.
I'm not seeing that type of crossover happening.
I'm going
to say you're going to see more. You'll see Triple H and like other WWE superstars at UFC events and be like, check it out. There's WWE superstar so-and-so. And he'll be like, and like the crowd will cheer for him even if they don't know who he is. As long as he shows up on the Jumbotron, people will cheer. And it's going to be the same thing. Yeah, it's going to be the same thing at like WWE events, which is fine to have the UFC guys get involved in those because it's scripted, right? So UFC heavyweight champion, whoever, pops over the barricade and punches that snarky heel right in the face and just knocks him out cold. That's fine. Like, it's a cool spot. Everybody's going to cheer. They're going to be like, here's UFC fighter so-and-so. And everyone's going to go, because he's on the Jumbotron. So, yeah, we'll see some crossover, definitely. I don't think we're going to get to that extent. But we're running a little long on this episode. This has been our Rift in the Nerdverse for WrestleMania. Eric, hit us with the links real quick.
All right, so crossingthenerdverse.com. Go there. You'll get the most current podcasts. You also get any of our live vids. I kind of put them at the bottom so you can get to our YouTube channel that way. We also have CTN_podcast That's on Twitter. We also have Nerdverse on Twitter. Both of those are very active. We've seen a huge uptick lately with everybody on Twitter with our CTN podcast. That's nice to see. We're loving that. And then you can also find our merch is on crossingthenerdverse.com. Our first giveaway is going to be sometime this month. We're going to get a couple more hero nerds of the week out there, and then we're going to do a drawing between all of them. When we do the drawing, it's going to be a live one. We'll try to make it like a smaller episode, obviously, but it'll be live so that way everyone gets to see it. However, we figure out how we're going to draw it, and then maybe we'll do another giveaway or something while it's going on with anyone that's live watching us. Kind of have some fun with it. I'm trying to think of anything else off the top of my head. Oh, Apple podcasting has picked up a lot. We are on there. A lot more people are picking us up through those podcasts, so I'm going to start sharing links to our Apple and Google too. Also, I just got hit with an email about our big uptick on there with our podcast too. So we're really getting some steam. Everyone's seeming to like us and love us. Just we hope you continue to do so, and just give some follows.
All right. Well, that'll close out our rift in the Nerdverse. We are crossing the Nerdverse, and we will catch you next time. Thanks for joining us on this WrestleMania recap.